Steve Edwards, did that person have it coming?
Leave me alone.
That's a yes, everyone.
Okay.
All right. So there was a big controversy here in Los Angeles among the parents of children at Garner Street Elementary School. Why? Because Michael Jackson's name was on the auditorium. And then after the documentary aired on HBO, it was called Leaving Neverland, some of the parents said, we believe he is a child molester, therefore his name should not be on the auditorium of our children's school.
Inappropriate for school.
Yes.
Okay.
So they decided to have a vote. And the school said, we don't want any part of this hot potato. Let's let the parents decide, which I think was an appropriate response. Mm-hmm. So it came down to a vote, and the parents voted to keep Michael Jackson's name on the auditorium. I, for one, Steve Edwards, am happy about this. I believe that Michael Jackson is a child molester. That's my personal opinion. However, I think that there are a lot of people in history who have accomplished great things, who have also done very bad things, and we should still recognize their accomplishments because a lot of people are flawed and have done great things and bad things.
Doesn't it depend on what kind of bad things and how recently? Those two things.
Well, take the missions in California. Mm-hmm. There are people that do not want our cities to be named after the Spanish missions.
Right, because of how they treated the
indigenous population.
Yes.
They want Sacramento to change its name. They want Santa Barbara to change its name. They want Santa Monica, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You name it, all of those cities in their mind should be changed.
George Washington had slaves.
He did.
Kept like 500 slaves or some huge number. Should we change the name of Washington Boulevard, Washington, D.C., to Washington Bridge?
Our currency.
Yeah.
The quarter, the $1 bill.
The question is, where do you go after all of this? Thomas Jefferson had slaves, let them go after his death. Nevertheless, in history, these people who are perceived as great people did these things.
Well, there was something that was circulating around the internet not long ago about Martin Luther King. And someone who was gay and closeted wrote him a letter explaining their situation.
Yeah.
And his advice to that person was, it's a mental disorder, go seek therapy.
Right. Which was prevalent thinking in those days.
Now, does that mean we should take his name off of everything? Of course not. That would be stupid.
Or that the FBI was wiretapping him and he was having an affair with some people.
Yes.
That is different. It's different. I don't think every case is the same. I think you got to take it case by case.
Absolutely. Joining us to talk about this is the documentarian who made the documentary Michael Jackson, The Trial and Triumph of the King of Pop, Pearl Jr. Good morning, Pearl.
How are you?
Good morning. I never talked to Steve Edwards, so I've been watching you for years. So, hey, Steve.
Well, hello, Pearl. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Well, John, you know I disagree that Michael is a pedophile.
Okay, but we agree, I think, on the auditorium.
Well, yes, we do agree on the auditorium. There's a little backstory. It was covered. The name was covered before with plywood during the 2005, around that time where there was the trial. And there was a campaign by the fans after Michael was announced dead in 2009 to get the plywood taken off to get his name uncovered. And the fans were successful. And her name was Jennifer Marino, and she led this protest for them to uncover it because Michael was fully acquitted in 2005. Now, I think the school made a great decision, and the reason is because if they're teaching the Constitution and they're teaching the laws of the land, it is we are all innocent until proven guilty. Michael Jackson is the most researched investigated person that ever lived. Michael suffered through a 10-year FBI investigation, 10-plus years. He was investigated by the LAPD, the Santa Barbara PD, Child and Family Services. He was also investigated by the media. I mean, and then there were 5 court cases. You guys, a lot of people don't know that there were 5 court cases after the 94 settlement, where his insurance paid the Chandlers reportedly $20 million. there was a criminal case. And 2 grand juries refused to indict Michael Jackson. This is still Tom Sneddon, by the way, on flimsy information because they couldn't find anything that proved that Michael Jackson was.
Well, wait a minute. There were payouts, Pearl, and there were numerous payouts to complainants.
There was two. There was the Chandler, and there was also the Francia one. And the Francia, which is Jason Francia and his mother Blanca, that is because Diane Diamond paid the family $20,000 to lie on Michael Jackson. And it ended up being a tickling incident. And the reason why he paid the second one was because he just got rid of the first one. And then, oh, my God, here's another one. I thought this was over. I thought this was done. And it was brought up in the 2005 case. And the Francia, the mother and the son, both testified. And I was in the courtroom. And they lied because Tom Mesro, who did a masterful job defending Michael Jackson, asked them, did Michael ever pay you money? And then they both talked about this one incident. And they described the payment. The mother said it was a $100 bill, and then the son said it was $250.
Okay.
So the jury didn't believe.
I would imagine, Pearl, that most people listening, the public opinion is probably with me, that believes that Michael Jackson is a pedophile.
It's because of the media slant. That's why. Not based on any facts.
For whatever reason you may think, most people believe that. For people like me...
No.
Oh.
I don't believe most people believe that. I don't.
Really?
Well, the vote was, I heard the vote for the parents were 70 to keep his name uncovered.
Well,
and
that's
30.
what I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
For people like me who believe that he's guilty of inappropriate sexual relations with children, what is the argument to me to get me to keep the name on the auditorium? Because I would have voted to keep it on, but do you think that there is an effective argument that you could make for people who believe that he's guilty?
Yes. Everyone, it's constitutional. It is the law. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. And I believe that Michael Jackson has proved himself innocent many times. He even sued a couple of other people, and he's won lawsuits. There was a Victor Gutierrez, and Diane Diamond's friend, who said that there was a videotape. Okay, of Michael having...
Wait, has this been proven that Diane Diamond... Because Diane Diamond's a good reporter.
No, she is not. She is not. And if you're going to pay somebody $20,000 to lie, that's not a good reporter.
That's a serious charge.
2005. No, that came out in the 2005 trial. I was in there, and Diane Diamond was sitting behind me. And I said, Diane, really? I said, do you have a card? And she gave me her card. She did this. She paid the Francias $20,000, and in a hotel room, they lied and said Michael, and this was supposed to be in 1987, a tickling incident. I mean, it's absurd. And I believe that because of reporters like Diane Diamond, Victor Gutierrez, who said there was a videotape, Michael sued him for a videotape, and there was never one, and Michael sued for the videotape. So if Michael Jackson ever molested a kid, do you think he would sue for a videotape?
Well, I think he paid a lot of kids off because there were a lot of inappropriate relations that he had.
There were two.
Okay,
the
well,
insurance
for most people,
one,
it's zero.
and the other one. Okay? Well, how about this? You love Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey's father was accused of sexual misconduct, and Oprah paid that person off. Okay? So people pay things off
Did he do
to
it?
have them go away. I don't know if he did it or not.
Okay, well, if she paid him off, my guess is the answer is yes.
Pearl, excuse me. I've been an observer to this conversation until this moment. But I have a question for you that John doesn't want to ask you, but I do. Do you think that Michael Jackson is still alive?
Yes, I most certainly do, and thank you so much for asking. I have been looking for proof that Michael Jackson is dead for nearly 10 years and have found zero. If you listen to the Conrad Murray verdict, okay, and you will hear them say alleged victim Michael Joseph Jackson, and that's not even his name is Michael Joe Jackson, who died on alleged date. of June 25th, why would a verdict, and I've looked all over the world for a verdict that says that the victim is an alleged victim who died on an alleged date. Then I contacted the LADA, and I asked them, I said, who wrote the words to that verdict? And can you confirm to me that Michael Jackson is dead? After them sending me through this diversion to that diversion to this to ignoring me, finally, they were forced to tell me, we're not answering your question.
Well, don't his children acknowledge that he's dead, and his parents and his brothers and sisters?
Right. In my documentaries, I have 3 documentaries. Thank you so much, Steve. 3 documentaries. They're called the Alive Trilogy of Michael Jackson documentaries. And when the brother announced Michael Jackson dead, not a doctor, no one from UCLA, but they were at the UCLA press room, and he was wearing a shirt that said "Living as King," his brother in the back. The kids have all participated in Living Death Hoax Clues. I mean, abundance, especially Paris has done the most of them. And also Joe Jackson has, LaToya has, Jermaine has, Tito. I mean, so many of them have participated in Leaving the Clues. Even the Michael Jackson estate. I used to own a domain. Well, they owned it first. Well, somebody owned it first. A domain called MichaelJacksonDeathHoax.com. And then I let it lapse, and then the estate bought the same domain, MichaelJacksonDeathHoax.com.
Well, maybe they bought it because they just don't want the conspiracy theory out there.
There's a million ways to say Michael faked his death. MJ is alive. Michael Jackson faked death. Michael Jackson death fake. Michael Jackson hoax death. I mean, there's a million. You can't. There's no way you can buy so many domains with that say the same thing. Now, also, if you look on the Michael album, it says, "I live on the lips." And there's so many death hoax clues that I break down for you in the Alive Trilogy of Michael Jackson documentaries. Okay. Now, wait.
We're out of time.
Important things. Oh, my God. There's so much more.
Pearl Jr., thank you so much for joining us this morning. The documentary is Michael Jackson, The Trial and Triumph of the King and Pop. You can follow Pearl on Twitter at Pearl Jr. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Pearl.
Thank you.